You know, when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I wish I'd have been there, because if you know anything about martial arts, there's quite an easy counter technique to that slap, so I'd like to demonstrate that for Chris Rock just now, so if it ever happens again, he's got that in his wheelhouse. So basically, as soon as Will Smith slaps, and you're holding your face in pain, right at that moment, you just go, mate, Wild Wild West? Now, I don't know why Chris Rock never used that technique, but he should have, because it would have knocked him clean out.
I walked in the shadow of death, left the fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Fargo series. This is season 4 now, this is the one I have been terrified about. Many people think this is the worst season of Fargo, a lot of people straight up hate this season. As I've said several times already, if this is written by Noah Hawley, I think I personally will find something in amongst these 10 episodes to take away that I really think is creative and dope. But maybe he was going through some shit, maybe he was busy, maybe he was having an off time as a creative writer. I have no idea why this is the one bad season of Fargo, but I'm ready for it because I've heard season 5 is great again. So even if this is the absolute shits, I will crawl through that like Andy Dufresne just to get to a glorious season 5 out the other side of the shit tunnel in the rain, happy again, okay? But seriously, how the fuck bad can it be? It's Chris Rock, Noah Hawley writing, no Will Smith in sight, Chris is safe. I mean, it's gonna be great. And let me just stress, in case I take this too far at any point, I do not agree with what Will Smith did to Chris Rock at the Oscars. I am for the side of the comic. I am for the side of freedom of speech. It wasn't even that bad a joke. A G.I. Jane joke, seriously? That's what you're slapping a man down for at the Oscars? Wow, I mean, I could have came out with 20 right off the top of my head, which were way harsher than that, Will. You know what I mean? Chris Rock's just chilling. He's a 60-year-old 5'0" old man. Will Smith might be in his 50s now, but he's still a 6'3", 6'4" tank. I wish I was there to receive that slap off of Will Smith. He'd have got push kicked so hard, he would have went off the stage and landed directly onto the lap of a 90-year-old Jewish guy in a tuxedo. So yeah, all that being said, I might make some jokes at both's expense throughout this show. It's just fucking banter, of course, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this season has in store for me, so let's get into it. This is episode 1 of season 4, Welcome to the Alternate Economy. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it.
What'd you do this time?
I've been maligned.
This is a strange setup. What era is this set in? Was that a guy getting paddled in the principal's office? Oh, 1950, Jesus Christ, this checks out. Don't know if I'm going to enjoy this season straight away. Maybe everyone was right. Yeah, we can skip this season if you guys want.
In the beginning, there were the Hebrews, and they ran the underworld.
Gotta give credit to the Hebrews for getting there first. There was money to be made.
Then came the Irish.
Oh, the Jews weren't ready for the Irish. This is a face-off for the ages. Fucking potatoes and 7-sticked candle holders flying everywhere.
To keep the peace, the boss of each family gave offer of his youngest son in trade.
That is an extreme measure to keep the peace. Very much like, you know, they did back in medieval times and shit.
What'd you do this time?
Punched Dolores this farmer with my eye, of course.
So is she genuinely getting in trouble for shit she hasn't done?
The only thing worse than a disreputable Negro was an upstanding one.
So someone punched her, she gets sent to the office and then paddled.
Arrows of small-minded folk who...
And then she has to walk past racist cigarette janitor guy. Is that the Irish? So they've just came back and snuck attacked them anyway.
Well done, boyo. Bring the lad.
Oh, it was a fake trade. That's fucked.
Someone has been sitting in your chair.
Now he's gonna make his son get his first kill. Told you the Jews weren't ready for the Irish. That's what you guys get for being all fair and above board.
Throw him up.
The fact they beat that kid up first and everything, so horrible. And the kid didn't even seem that fazed by it.
And what does history tell us? Peace don't last for long.
It certainly does not.
The Italians came next. That's how it worked.
Oh shit, I don't know if the Irish are ready for the Italians. Are they going to try and do the exact same thing again, but this time the Italians will be ready for it? I reckon the Italian kid will kill all the Irish people himself. And is that the same son he traded, you know, the first time he did this? Who knows how this all ends? I've got a feeling this time that the Italians are going to kill all the Irish, but they're going to keep the Irish kid alive.
So after I shot him between the eyes, I rolled him over and shot him on the other side, just to be certain.
This guy has held his kingdom with nothing but bloodshed for the last 20 years, hasn't he?
It's the double cross. Let me in, I gotta talk to my dad.
Look, the little Italian kid was ready right off the bat. Oh shit, and the other son is for it, damn. On one hand, it's like, how could he betray his own father, but then his father's always treated him so fucked up, hasn't he? Still though, he was quick to be down with the mafia. They must have shown him the good life for a few weeks.
His son's a horse.
Oh shit! Even darker than the first time, he's making him kill his own father. The man who made him kill for the first time.
I've noticed in my study of the human animal that in the combination of the races, it is the rigor for the more extreme coloration to prevail.
Holy shit. Did people not like this because it wasn't as bad as this in the 50s? Is this too on the nose, or is this exactly how some people were? Her form of racism is even more disgusting than just some person shouting the N-word, because at least you look at them and you're like, well, they're just a dumb fucking idiot, miseducated by their friends or their parents before them, raised to not educate themselves further. You know, that's one thing. But see that sort of racism where they're like, oh wow, you guys are some athletes. I bet you're really explosive as an athlete. Let me study your fucking hat. That shit creeps me the fuck out. Like you're studying someone like they're a fucking alien because they're a different skin colour. There's the man. Okay, so this is bringing us up to present time where I'm assuming Chris Rock is the new guy who's going to butt heads with a mafia. This is an amazing setup. And I like how the show's trained us in the first 15 minutes to assume Chris Rock is instantly going to win. You know, every new gang that ever shown up has won. So it's been programming us in a certain way for the first 15 minutes. Which makes me think Chris Rock might lose. The Irish gangster's kid's still with them as well, right in the middle of it.
Avete visto? Il ragazzo pensa di essere un uomo.
Mafia feeling quite confident. Obviously they've had quite a good reputation in this era. Well, they both showed their commitment to peace by spilling blood.
So we play along or keep cutting each other's throats.
Taking the pacifist choice is a dangerous move. That is how criminal gangs do operate, you know, in modern cities. They cut up the city into patches for different types of drugs and they all make their money like that. And generally they don't go to war. And if they do go to war, it's a big fucking deal. And someone has done something incredibly stupid. These guys are all just trying to make money. That being said, again, this show has trained us so far to expect a sneak attack one way or the other.
If there's trouble, swing for the balls, then the eyes.
Where was the ball-eye shot combo at the Oscars? That would have been fucking epic. This is so fucked up. I wonder who introduced this trade and why they didn't veto it the first two times it turned out to be complete bullshit and not work anyway. Oh, he's seen this shit 3 times. He knows how this goes for someone. That's an interesting choice, because the Don never even raised his head when he was dealing with the Irish. I wonder why he raised his head there.
Sleep with one eye open.
Right, and that's the other kid growing up with a mustache.
You want my advice? Be who you need to be. Don't forget who you are.
Says the guy that murdered his entire family and joined the mafia.
Where you from? Dublin, Italy?
Guarantee Chris Rock ad-libbed that shit. And even though I'm gonna have to put up with a bunch of prejudiced, racist bullshit this season, no doubt, I do like the choice that they've decided to go to the 50s for this season. It's an interesting time switch. Also makes me wonder how in the hell any of the other seasons are going to tie into this one. I'm trying to think of a character who was old enough to be alive while this was going on. I'm hoping for Thaddeus Mobley.
Talk about how most of the labor on the east side is colored now and how that should make it ours.
But these guys seem to have kept the peace more than any of the other two crime families in this city's history, at least.
Do you know who I am?
Do you?
What?
Not sure about this casting choice, you know. Don't know if I buy this guy as a fucking full-blooded Italian who's been raised from birth shanking people. Did you hear his voice? That's the least intimidating gangster voice of all time. That guy has seen zero bloodshed in his life and has never been punched in the face.
I see the window signs. No coloreds, no Italians. So we're both in the gutter together.
He's talking sense to him right now, you know. It does make more sense if they work together as a team when they've got their backs against the wall against the government and the police and all of this shit.
If you want to start murdering children, last I checked, you had more than me.
Calm down.
That was quite a forward threat by Chris Rock there, but at least he was putting his cards on the table, told them in no uncertain terms that if it comes to start killing people, you know, they will do the same thing back. I suppose that's not really a threat, but he was the first to overtly talk about just killing one another there. The Don took it on the chin though, much respect.
Sono animali. Devo rispettare pure I maiali?
I don't know, maybe he'll grow on me. Right now I'm just not buying him.
There you go. What?
I actually like the look they've given the Don though, because it fits no previous Don I can think of in my head. And you know, the fact that they're just going with a unique look, even though it's more unkempt than you're used to with a mafia boss, I like it, it's memorable.
3 years you had me with the Irish. 3 years.
Basta!
Damn, so it was 3 years they exchanged before it turned to bloodshed. Well, that means that this could still turn to bloodshed yet. Love them old school cap guns. I know they always show kids shooting cap guns in a movie as a poignant artistic way of saying like, look at the youth, the cycle continues. But you know, fuck off, they're just having fun with cap guns. They go bang. It's cool.
Papa,
Yep.
I didn't mean...
I feel like there's an attack coming right now. Is this just showing the paranoia? Or are these guys prepared for it? Or are they planning one themselves?
Bang!
Why do I get the feeling these cap guns now are going to make one of them assume a shots went off? And the Don's having a heart attack in the backseat at the same time. This scene's just got crazy. The second Don to have a medical issue in this show. This show's done a great job in raising awareness towards the poor medical conditions that Mafia Dons have to live with. Really? What? What the fuck? Okay, I've got so many things I want to say about this scene. I wish I could fucking pause it. Obviously, I don't like the choice of the giant fart. That's fucking first of all. Can see why everyone would hate that fucking choice in a Fargo show. I like the tension they built. I like the diffusion of it. I like the Don having a heart thing. And then they completely ruined it all with the fart gag. What the fuck was that about? Shit wasn't funny. Shit was weird. Shit doesn't fit in Fargo. Do not agree with it. I'd rather see Varga vomit for 10 hours. Yeah, and then a fucking kid playing with a toy actually neck-shotted him with it. So, is he now dying anyway? Really strange choice to put that fart in there. Is this Noah Hawley? What the fuck have you been doing the last 2 seasons, bro, with Varga and farts? Like, what are your fetishes, mate? Do we need to sit down and talk, Noah? It's starting to impede on your genius. Keep that shit private and just write genius shit, alright? You know your fucking job. Don't bleed over your personal life into it. Oh fuck, here's another thought as well. The Italians are gonna obviously think that was someone in Chris Rock's crew that took that shot.
Name's Doctor. Dr. Senator.
It was my mother's idea.
And what was her name?
Ma'am.
It's a fucking badass name. Your mother was a legend and she deserves a knighthood.
What you hold in your hand right now is something I call a financial instrument.
Is he introducing the fucking credit card to the bank? While these guys have still got money tubes. They are going to become bazillionaires if this works.
I don't understand. If you got your own bank,
It's weird to see a guy in a bank sitting in a computerless office with 2 fucking pipes on the wall.
$1 billion idea.
Yeah, it is.
they're just not going to spend money they don't have. And charging them high rates of interest, preying on them when times get tough, well, that's just not what banking's all about.
Wow, this guy's going to get fired off his bosses quickly.
She'll talk to Ma and the others. They can come in the morning, if he makes it.
At least he survived. That might reduce the potential conflict from this, but I see no way that they're not going to assume that it wasn't Chris Rock's crew.
Who shot him?
I don't know, children, I think. That's not what matters.
Oh, fuck. Well, at least they know it was one of the kids that shot at him. That is a huge deal, because I thought this was going to be the incident that sparked the entire war. It might still be, of course, but if there was one witness to the fact it was a kid, then that's a good thing.
I don't like to see him like that. Will you take care of him?
I shall attend him faithfully until the Lord arrives.
He's just asked her to kill his fucking dad, and she's just agreed to. Fucking Lucy Letby over here, racist cokehead. It would have been much better with a young, short, but guy that looked like he could handle himself Italian-American actor, in my opinion, for that role. There's no way he wouldn't have developed that constitution growing up in that family. There is zero way he wouldn't have developed that. Do you think he's gonna just randomly talk like some hipster if he grew up with a fucking mafia? Fuck off.
Sorry about the exchange with Nurse Mayflower before. She's, a bit of an eccentric.
Eccentric, is that what you called it in the 50s?
I hear the whispers late at night. I'm a part of this family, you know?
Girl, you best sit down.
That's one thing I'm unsure about so far. How does this family fit into the overall picture? Is the dad connected? He's definitely not involved with any of the 2 organised crime syndicates. I feel sorry for this daughter, man. She just gets her ass kicked at school and then she's got the strictest parents ever. She cannot catch a break. I can't get over the fact they decided to add a giant, prolonged, like 5-second fart out of the mafia boss as a fucking bait and switch heart attack got you moment. What the fuck were you smoking that day, Noah?
Who made dinner? Did you help your mommy?
Yeah.
You better help your mommy.
Well, I hope you enjoy your crayon sandwich, Chris. She's here to kill the Don, isn't she? Shit. I was just about to say, it looks like he's about to wake up, which would be good news as well.
No need to fret, Mom is here.
What a fucking villainous character this woman is straight away. It's so insidious. People that abuse their positions in medicine hate it. Mixed with her strange racism and reducing certain ethnicities to animals and shit. Wow, what a fucking horrible combination for a character.
I'm a people person, don't you know? Now, rest up, old timer.
This character is creeping me the fuck out. Seriously, I think this might be like the instantly most hateable character in the history of Fargo.
Don't worry, it won't be much longer now. Hey, stop that!
Seeing her true colours come out there. This is a horrible scene. I can't believe this. This is disgusting. This woman is a fucking piece of shit. And now stealing his fucking ring. Who is this person? I can't stress enough how uncomfortable I feel having to watch that whole scene like that. Now she's just singing like an absolute serial killer. So now the Don's dead. As much as that one son said he saw the kids, it was the one son who wanted the Don dead. So that leads me to think that one son with a mustache is now going to lie to the rest of the family to initiate the war. I hate how this is going. You're telling me that little hipster-voiced manlet is going to be the main antagonist along with a racist, horrible, sadistic Nos woman this season? I hope that Nos dies the most horrific death in the world before the end of this show. Oh, that's how they're gonna connect. She lives across from this girl, right? Well, hopefully she gets to the bottom of this bitch.
Jeez, it's freezing out here.
I kinda like this setup, you know, the classic, the window across the street, slowly gathering information from it kinda setup. There's a Tales from the Crypt episode like this, and obviously many other famous movies where a window across the street is the plot device, kinda.
We're just having some money trouble right now, your mom and me. Not a lot.
Right, so is the dad or the mother borrowing money off of one of the two crime families, maybe? Okay, so it was Noah Hawley who wrote and directed it, so it all falls on his shoulders. Interesting first episode. Okay, so that was episode 1 of season 4 of Fargo. Welcome to the new economy, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, welcome to the new economy. What did I think of that? Well, there's lots of things I think is like classic Fargo and fits right into Fargo, and then there is notable, jarringly obvious things that almost make it tonally something completely different, and even though it was momentarily, it took away from the entire rest of the episode because it existed within it. I loved the opening first 15 minutes, seeing the history of the crime families taking over that same place. It started with the Hebrews, and then the Irish against the Hebrews, and then the Mafia against the Irish, and now we've got Chris Rock and the Black community's crime syndicate against the Mafia. That was all absolutely brilliant. I loved how they set up the son as well, and the other son from the Italian family. So we've got these two sons, the Irish and Italian one, who are now grown, and they were both involved in 2 of the sneak attacks and 2 of the previous takeover operations. All that was brilliant. I also loved how they set up the daughter's character. Just seeing this really intelligent person have such a brutal life, it obviously instantly makes you sympathise with her and root with her right from the get-go. And I also like the fact they implemented the evil Nos lady living across the street from the daughter. That will obviously come into play later on in the season, but it's great that they're giving us this plot device which may lead to her, you know, uncovering something of significance and perhaps being treated with a bit of fucking respect for what she's accomplished. And I'll talk about the specific scene in a minute, but if we're talking about villain creation, holy shit, Noah Hawley knocked it out of the park with that Nos, because I have never despised the character more than her instantaneously over the course of a single episode than this bitch in this episode. Wow, she is written to be despised. The way she treated the daughter when she met her at the doorstep and analysed her skin, and oh, it makes you so uncomfortable because that type of racism exists. It's the same type of racism they explored in Get Out when, you know, they had the auction for him and you heard all the older white people talk about, oh, they're great athletes. You know, that other side of racism? That's not to say that black people aren't great athletes. Look at boxing, look at the NBA, do the fucking math, right? But there's a way you talk about that subject without coming across as a troglodyte. Do you know what I'm saying? And these people, when they talk about that shit, there's an undertone of not understanding them as people still. They're still alien to them. They're still scared of the dark. You know what I mean? That's what it really is to me, racism. It's fear. The most primitive fears we have that your modern human brain should be overriding, okay? So if you still see another culture or merely the variation of a skin pigmentation as so fucking unknown to you, it terrifies you into not liking that race of people, you need to man the fuck up. Deep down, it comes from a place of cowardice, and cowardice is one of the most dislikable traits you can have in a human being. I'm not going to rant about this all day, but if you in yourself in some way feel afraid or threatened by another minority or race, man the fuck up about it, because me, I'm ready for anything. Even if an alien race came to Scotland tomorrow and fucking conquered us all, if I survived, I would find a way to try and fight back until my death. And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And if you look at human history, empires have risen and fallen. People are always trying to control everything, whether it's a fucking rich white guy or a rich anything other colour guy, okay? It's just about powerful people looking at the globe like a fucking pie they want the whole thing of. And us as civilians who have completely different mindsets because we're just living our lives are trained to point the finger at one another, so we never all in unison point the finger at the man holding the fucking pie. That's what racism is, and that's why it's perpetuated in society, because if society is in unison, they can always overthrow unjust governments, unfair structures and systems that punish them. And if we are always bickering with one another, guess what? Every single year these people still get to keep doing what they're doing, and we ain't got no time to make them change it because we are all hating each other. Fucking infuriates me. People power is the best thing in the world, so it makes complete sense that any powerful structure would make sure they divide people, thus people power is non-functioning. Okay. That is all my likes. And you know what's messed up? The scene that ruined it, I loved everything else around it. I loved the setup and just the cars moving slowly through the neighbourhood, and then just even the sight of a few black dudes makes the mafia guys on edge like, oh, is this Chris Rock's gang coming for us? And they've all got their guns out. Like, that standoff was brilliant. Then the Don seemingly having a heart attack at the same time, just heightening the confusion and stress of the situation. Brilliant. Absolute fucking dead stupid American Pie road trip dumbass 5-second long fart joke in place of a decent payoff, or at least just a bait and switch of it leading to a diffusal and it being that tense, but it's cool because it was diffused. Either of those two options were fine for the drama, would have both made sense no matter what direction they took it in, and wouldn't have completely pulled me out of the show and been like, what the fuck is that doing there? Seriously, what the fuck is that doing there? Noah Hawley, why? Are you going to tell me, oh, because Fargo, this is a true story, and in true stories, sometimes things happen that, you know, you wouldn't see in traditional cinema. Sometimes a UFO comes down, sometimes a mafia don needs a 5-second fart. Fine, but why make that choice, dick? Because you just ruined the episode. That one moment ruined the episode. Why? You could say you can't let 5 seconds ruin an episode, but you can because you judge art as a whole, and that is a fucking moment within it. If Leonardo da Vinci had painted the Mona Lisa and then just scrawled the fucking penis in the bottom right of the fucking picture, it would have taken away from the overall product, wouldn't it? Or heightened it, judging on your taste in art, of course. But anybody that thinks that moment heightened this episode, I mean, fair play to you, but I feel like you were watching the wrong show and hoping for the wrong genre, because that is not what I expect from a crime drama. And that Fargo shit last season almost ruined what is, in my opinion, one of the best seasons of television ever made. This is the fucking knife edge you walk along as a writer, so it's not to say that you should always make safe choices, but don't make fucking jarringly bizarre ones that just jolt people out of what is otherwise a fucking typical Fargo, brilliantly written, loads of excellent characters being introduced, and I can't wait to see what happens next type of episode. And all that being said, it's not that it wasn't a good scene, because, you know, it was designed to make me feel sick and uncomfortable and all that, so, you know, but the nurse doing that shit to the Dawn in the hospital room and the way she held her hands and sat down and sung and all that shit, and with Lucy Letby's story being out in the paper the last few years in the UK, and, you know, we've already had a doctor death in the UK in the last, 40 years as well, with Harold Shipman. So this is some shit that genuinely does happen, and as my loved ones get older and need more medical care, it makes me absolutely sick that people would abuse these positions and do horrible fucked up shit like that. And yeah, that scene was just absolutely rugged and uncomfortable, and the only thing I'll say is, like, thank God it's done, because after the murder of a hospital patient and a 5-second long fart joke, there is nothing this season can throw at me that I will not be prepared for. So maybe that's what Noah Hawley's intention was, and, you know, if that was his goal, then fair play. But he set a strange barometer on his chalkboard when he planned out the inception of the plot and thought, you know what, High point, we're gonna go with nurse murder. Low point, fart joke. In fact, it was probably the other way around. And my other criticism is, you know, I don't know the actor's name, but that guy, I'm sure he does have some Italian blood in him or whatever, and that's why he was cast, but the dude's just not viable as a mafia guy, man. There is no way he'd be talking like that and carrying himself like that if he'd have surrounded himself with a bunch of fucking killers and smart hustlers from the age of a child. Zero chance. Zero chance. You can't find me one mafia member from the 80s or 90s who just randomly talk like that. You can't find me one. And because of that, it makes it a not viable character, which would have been okay if he'd have been killed off in this episode or something, but the way they seem to be taking it is that he's going to be the fundamental antagonist along with Nurse Lady moving this plot forward. In fact, as I said during this episode, I predict him to be the one that causes this war by lying about it being kids that shot his dad in the neck next episode. And they are all my criticisms. I don't know if I was off base with them or if you guys were like, yes, this is why we don't like it, but regardless, these are my thoughts on this episode. Now, that being said, I am still hoping that, you know, we've had the weird thing with the fart joke, and if that fart joke wasn't there, I would have loved this episode all the way through, other than the smothering scene, which it would have been sadistic and uncomfortable still, but it still would have been, you know, classic Fargo, classic crime drama. So here's hoping we don't get any more moments like that, and I will like this series. But yeah, regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week because I still have ultimate faith in Noah Hawley as a writer. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.